Welcome to Tomorrow Unveiled. Today we're kicking off the Immortality update this week in longevity science. And just to be clear, when we talk about this, we're not, chasing some sci-fi dream of living forever. Our focus is really squarely on extending your healthy functional years. Think about it, pushing those boundaries, keeping your mind sharp, your body strong, your cells resilient, much later in life than we currently expect. That's really the goal here. Our dedicated research team, they've been hard at work digging through all the latest science, the trials, the tech innovations, and they're bringing us the really crucial bits of knowledge. We try to focus on findings that, pop up in multiple places, giving us a solid evidence-based picture.
Yeah, and what's really exciting, I think, is that this field, longevity science, it's really moving past just theory. We're seeing actual tangible progress now. It's about health span, right? The healthy years, not just adding years overall. And we're seeing steps forward there.
Absolutely. And for this session of Tomorrow Unveiled, we've got some really fascinating areas lined up. We'll be talking about neuroprotection breakthroughs that could genuinely change how we think about Alzheimer's. Then there are these revolutionary gene and cellular therapies, literally like rewriting our biological code. Plus, innovative ways to speed up the research itself, the huge role AI is playing kind of behind the scenes, and of course, the big questions, ethics, access, that shape how this all plays out for everyone. So let's dive right in.
Okay, first up, sharpening the mind. Let's get into these pretty remarkable breakthroughs in neuroprotection. A research team highlighted something fascinating from the Buck Institute for Research on Aging, focusing on that gut-brain link in Alzheimer's.
Yes, that was quite something. The findings showed that in Alzheimer's models, certain immune cells, B cells, were actually migrating from the colon directly to the brain. And this isn't just, a coincidence. It seems like this migration could actively make the neurodegeneration worse. It draws a very direct line, mechanistically speaking, between gut health and how the brain ages. Right. And the really powerful part, the insight here, is the potential for immediate intervention. Just simple dietary fiber supplements, they mention inulin specifically, were shown to help restore healthy gut immunity. And, get this, significantly reduce frailty scores in the mouse models. So it's not just an interesting link, it connects neurodegeneration and immune dysfunction, explaining how gut health hits brain aging. The big takeaway, maybe? Protecting your brain might start with your gut microbiome. Diet as a defense.
It really makes you look beyond just the brain itself, doesn't it? You have to consider the whole system, especially the immune system, and how something basic like diet can have these major upstream effects on diseases like Alzheimer's.
Yeah, exactly. And building on that, our research team also flagged some really promising late-stage clinical data. This is for a new oral approach for Alzheimer's, a drug called Blarcomycin.
Oh, this one looks very interesting. It could be a real game changer. So in a specific group, they called it a precision medicine cohort. About 70% of the population. Apparently, Blarcomycin showed an 84.7% reduction in cognitive decline. That's over 48 weeks. And we're not just talking about slowing it down slightly. It's effectively stabilizing cognitive function, bringing it closer to the rate of, normal non-disease aging.
Wow, 84.7%. That's huge. And it seems the effects last, too. The long-term data showed sustained benefits, up to 4 years even, which really highlights how important early continuous treatment could be.
And the way it works is different, too. It's a sigma-1 receptor agonist. Basically, it activates a receptor that helps kickstart autophagy, the cell's own cleanup crew, getting rid of junk. So it's working before you get those big amyloid and tau problems we always hear about.
And crucially, it's a pill, an oral medication, apparently with a good safety profile. That's a massive contrast to the current IV anti-amyloid treatments, right? The infusions. Huge potential for better access, easier scaling, maybe lower costs. This feels like more than just another drug. It's potentially a shift towards stabilizing cognition with a simple pill, making widespread early treatment actually feasible.
Exactly. If we can get that kind of stabilization with an oral drug, it just completely changes the landscape for treating Alzheimer's. It makes it feel more like managing a chronic condition, something accessible to more people.
Okay. And one more thing in this neuroprotection area, the research team found insights linking lithium, specifically a deficiency of lithium in the brain, to the onset of Alzheimer's.
Yeah, this is interesting too. In mouse models, supplementing with low-dose lithium orotate seemed to prevent and even reverse some changes. It helps restore the function of microglia, those are the brain's immune cells, improved connections between neurons, boosted memory, and it also reduced the amyloid and tau pathology. So it kind of positions lithium as this potential metabolic regulator for keeping cognition healthy, like a tune-up for the brain's metabolism.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, so from keeping the mind sharp, let's shift gears to actually, well, rewriting the code of life. Advanced gene and cellular therapies. Now, the research team flagged that a big hurdle for CRISPR gene editing has always been delivery, right? Getting the tools where they need to go safely. But it sounds like there's been a major step forward here.
There has, yeah. A novel nanostructure developed in Northwestern University. It's called LNPSNA, lipid nanoparticle spherical nucleic acid. Think of it as a much better delivery truck for gene editing tools. More efficient, less toxic. The numbers are pretty striking. A threefold increase in getting into the cells and in the editing efficiency itself, plus significantly less cell toxicity, and a boost over 60% in precise DNA repair.
A threefold increase and better precision. That's not just tweaking things, that's a leap. This sounds like what they call an enabling technology, something that unlocks a lot of other possibilities. It could make the whole field of in vivo genetic longevity work safer, faster, making those ambitious ideas like boosting TERT or clotho expression or even partial cell reprogramming seem much more realistic now.
Absolutely. It shifts the conversation. It's less about if we can do these things effectively and more about when and how. It really opens the door for a new generation of genetic therapies that could target aging right at the source, in our cells.
And on the cellular front, we also saw a really groundbreaking study the team highlighted. It involved these things called senescence-resistant progenitor cells, or SRCs, cellular rejuvenation.
Right. So these were human mesenchymal progenitor cells, a type of stem cell, but they were engineered. They were made resistant to senescence, cellular aging, by overexpressing a gene called FOXO3. This gene is known for helping cells resist stress and live longer. And when they gave these engineered cells to aged primates, they actually seemed to counteract systemic aging. They reversed the epigenetic clock, that molecular measure of biological age, by up to 6 years in those animals. Plus, improvements in physical function, grip strength, immune markers. It's really paving the way for human trials in cellular rejuvenation.
Wow, turning back the clock like that. Even in primates, that's incredible. And sticking with gene therapy for a moment, the team also noted a big partnership. Remedium Bio and Eli Lilly are teaming up to develop one-time gene therapies for type 2 diabetes and obesity.
Yeah, the vision there is pretty compelling. Replace daily pills or injections with a single shot. A treatment that lasts for years, potentially much cheaper in the long run, offering a really durable solution for these major age-related metabolic diseases that would be revolutionary for managing chronic illness.
A single shot instead of daily management? That's a huge quality of life difference. Plus, just briefly, a really significant milestone in organ transplantation. The FDA has cleared a trial using pig kidneys, edited with CRISPR, for transplant into human patients with renal failure.
Yeah, that's a major step towards tackling organ shortages. Using gene editing to make animal organs compatible, big implications for extending lives.
Okay, let's just pause here for a second. If you're finding this insightful and you're listening on YouTube, please do take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Tomorrow Unveiled, and maybe hit that new hype button. It really helps us reach more people. Oh, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. And if you're listening on an audio service like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'd be so grateful if you could leave us a rating and review for Tomorrow Unveiled. It genuinely helps new listeners find us. We really do love hearing what you think. So whether you're on YouTube or your podcast app, drop a comment. Let us know your thoughts on this week's Immortality update. Right, let's get back into it. Let's talk about speeding up discovery. And the often unseen but critical role of AI in all this longevity science. A huge challenge, obviously, is that testing longevity drugs takes, well, a long time. Aging is slow. But our research team found some really cool new models tackling this.
Yeah, exactly. Waiting decades for clinical trial results just isn't practical for accelerating progress. So 2 really neat examples came up. First, there's a NASA-funded study, this one from UC San Diego, looking at spaceflight-induced aging. They sent human hematopoietic stem cells, the ones that make our blood up to the International Space Station, just 30 to 45 days up there, and these cells showed accelerated signs of aging. DNA damage, shorter telomeres, mitochondrial stress, inflammation. Their ability to regenerate was reduced. It gives us a unique human model, albeit cellular, to study aging under stress and test potential countermeasures much, much faster.
Wow, using spaceflight as a sort of time accelerator for aging cells, that's ingenious. And the other one, using a specific disease as a model.
Right. This is a conceptual framework, but a powerful one. Proposing idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis, IPF, as a fast-track model for testing geroprotective drugs. So IPF is a severe lung disease. But AI analysis found it shares many mechanistic overlaps with the hallmarks of general aging. The key difference: IPF progresses about 5 times faster than normal aging. So researchers could potentially see if a drug is having an anti-aging effect within months instead of waiting decades for results in a healthy aging population.
Okay, so using a rapidly progressing disease that mimics aging to get quicker answers on anti-aging drugs, that makes a lot of sense.
It's hugely significant. These kinds of models, Spaceflight, IPF, are vital for getting human-relevant data much more quickly. They help de-risk potential drugs, change the economics of development, and just speed up the whole timeline for getting geroprotectors tested and hopefully approved.
Now, let's talk AI. It seems like, based on the research, AI is everywhere in this field now, isn't it? Really driving things forward.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, what's fascinating, I think, is seeing how AI is becoming embedded in every stage. From the very beginning, identifying potential targets, right through to developing personalized treatment plans, it's creating this fully integrated approach to tackling aging. It's less a tool, more a strategic partner.
Yeah, you see it with platforms like in silico medicines. They use AI for, well, everything, finding targets, designing new molecules, even developing clever clinical strategies like using that IPF model we just discussed. Then there's the predictive side. Companies like Coursera Health using causal AI to predict your individual risk for things like cardiovascular disease, enabling early intervention, and platforms aiming to democratize access, like Rejuve.ai giving personalized longevity insights. Or Longevity AI offering doctors AI co-pilots to help create personalized health plans.
And it goes beyond just analyzing data. AI is actively designing things now. Collaborations, even involving large AI models like those from OpenAI, are being used to design novel molecules or specific factors for cellular reprogramming, aiming to reverse cellular aging more effectively than we could before. It's accelerating discovery itself.
Okay, so AI is clearly a massive accelerator. Let's zoom out now to the bigger picture. The ethical side, the future prospects. The research team did note this kind of tension. You have these incredible scientific leaps happening, but maybe clinical trial activity for broad longevity interventions is still somewhat limited, reflecting regulatory caution, perhaps.
Yes, that's a definite disconnect you see sometimes. The science is moving incredibly fast, but the regulatory pathways for approving drugs specifically for aging or longevity are still developing. They're slower. It leads to this situation where people might look for interventions off-label or through diet, while the formal approvals sort of catch up. It's a systems challenge.
And access. That's always a huge question, isn't it? We talked about Blarcomycin, the oral Alzheimer's drug that seems like it could be widely accessible. But contrast that with expensive IV therapies or potentially very costly gene therapies. And even with something like Blarcomycin, if it needs genetic screening first, that precision medicine aspect could create its own kind of divide, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Preventing a longevity divide is a critical ethical issue. Who gets access to these breakthroughs? It's definitely encouraging when you see efforts like that Remedium and Lilly gene therapy platform explicitly trying to tackle the cost issue from the start. That's vital.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Navigating the societal stuff. Public trust, ethical acceptance, because let's be honest, a lot of people are still pretty skeptical about radical life extension, right? Many prefer quality of life over just adding years and worry about, years without quality or bigger issues like overpopulation.
That's the core tension, absolutely. How do we balance the potential benefits with these legitimate concerns? Our research team even found this slightly odd anecdote, a hot mic moment, apparently caught Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping talking about organ replacement and living to 150. It kind of shows both a high-level interest, but also maybe some underlying unease, even among world leaders.
It's interesting.
And there's also the overpromise problem in this field. Sometimes claims get ahead of the science, and that hurts credibility. The field really needs rigorous standards and, frankly, honest communication to build and maintain public trust. How do we ensure the ethical frameworks keep pace with the technology? That's the crucial balancing act.
Okay, so let's try and pull this week's Immortality update together for Tomorrow Unveiled. We've seen amazing progress in neuroprotection, the gut-brain axis, potential oral drugs for Alzheimer's. Revolutionary gene and cellular therapies are getting closer thanks to delivery breakthroughs and rejuvenation techniques. Research itself is speeding up with clever models like using spaceflight or fast-progressing diseases, and AI is becoming the central engine driving discovery and personalization. But the common thread through all of it is enhancing functional health span, the quality years.
Exactly. As the research team observed, you've got all these different fields converging: neuroscience, genetics, AI, even space medicine. It all points towards a future where health span interventions become more systemic, more personalized, and much more preventative, near term. We'll probably see more repurposed drugs like metformin or mapamycin in bigger human trials for aging-related outcomes, and things like CRISPR-edited organ transplants, cell reprogramming therapies they're moving towards human trials too. The ultimate aim, really, is compressing morbidity, pushing back the diseases of aging, delaying them, preventing them, so people can enjoy a high quality of life, well past 100, ideally with minimal disability.
And as our research team puts it, we seem to be heading towards this great wall of adoption, where the science breakthroughs have to meet societal acceptance, ethical agreement. So the question maybe for you, our listener, is what does a truly healthy long life actually look like to you? And what are we as a society willing to do to make that achievable for everyone? Thank you so much for joining us on Tomorrow Unveiled for this deep dive into longevity's future. Just a final reminder, if you're on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe to Tomorrow Unveiled, maybe hit that hype button, it helps, and turn on notifications. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, a rating and review for Tomorrow Unveiled would be amazing. It really helps others find the show. And truly, wherever you're listening, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about this Immortality update, what excites you, what concerns you about the science of a longer, healthier life. From all of us here, thank you for tuning in to Tomorrow Unveiled. We'll see you next time as we continue to unveil the future, one breakthrough at a time.